Alright guys, welcome back to What If a Cell Jr. Survived. I'm enjoying this series. I hope you're enjoying it too. With all that being said, let's get to it. Kibble would walk up to Beerus. This was days before the Golden Frieza arc. So, Kibble didn't really know about Frieza coming back, but she was still excited to train. Beerus gave her a deal. Alright, I'll train you. At least Whis will, and make you become much more stronger, unlocking further upon your God Key, just like they let the Saiyans, on one condition. You give me a date. This pissed Kibble off a bit. She was a fighter, not some romance girl, but she agreed. And Beerus and Kibble will begin to date on his planet. And Whis would give her far lighter training, because Beerus made her have lighter training. Kibble really didn't like this. She didn't want to be treated, like she was better than everyone else, but, Beerus insisted, and what can you do? And she began to push herself further and further, going beyond God Key, becoming a super perfect God Key. Basically, her version of Super Saiyan Blue. However, eventually, Frieza would be awoken. Frieza would look around curiously. Frieza was no fool. He knew that knowledge and information was the most powerful weapons of all. Frieza asked what happened, and the soldiers would tell him, but they also told him about Kibble. Kibble was the daughter of Cell, and was a bio-android just like him, and she had all the DNA of all the strongest fighters, all the Saiyans, and him. Frieza was a bit annoyed and intrigued that someone else had his DNA, and someone else had his potential. This also scared him, but he knew what he had to do. He was going to have to train like he never trained before. As he looked around at all of them, he nodded and began to train for 3 months straight of grueling training. These were not going to be light exercises. These were going to be training to push himself like he's never thought of, because it's the only way to beat someone with his DNA. Meanwhile, we cut to Kibble after training. She goes to get a drink, and Beerus says, "Why not sit next to me, dear?" She rolls her eyes and sits next to him, and he goes, "Stop playing hard to get. I know you love me." "Love you? Your destroyer almost blew up my planet." Beerus says, "Yeah, sorry about that, but hey, I was gonna let you live because I knew you could breathe in space. Kinda romantic, right?" They both laughed and began to eat and talk. Goku said, "Wow, so that's like his Chi-Chi?" Vegeta says, "Shut up, Kakarot. Don't make Beerus mad." Kibble got up and said, "Are you comparing me to Chi-Chi? I'm a far better girl than her. Look at me, and I can fight better than any boy." Beerus laughs and says, "Whatever you say, honey." However, suddenly they would feel an energy spike, only for a split second as Frieza was training. She would say, "What was that?" Goku and Vegeta said, "I don't know, but it felt familiar." Huh. We cut to Frieza. As Frieza was yelling, Frieza was charging up. Frieza was pushing himself further and further, but no matter how hard he pushed, no matter what he did, he felt like there was a wall he could not reach. He never felt like this before. This angered him. With all of that anger, with all of that emotion, with all of that strength, suddenly his body starts to turn gold as he falls down to the ground and stands up. He is amazed by his golden form. He is amazed by his golden beauty. He's never seen anything like it before. He feels amazing. The power deep inside of him that pushes him further. It's more than anything he could imagine. His ki is off the charts. He then began to laugh as he knew there was no way the monkeys could surpass him. There was no way a monkey was as strong as him. So he got his forces ready and began to go to Earth. Frieza's spaceship went straight to Earth. All of his soldiers were ready to destroy them, to kill them, to get revenge for their master. As suddenly, Master Roshi felt the key. So did everyone else. They all gathered, ready to fight. But how could Frieza get this much stronger? Frieza was nothing to them compared to his Namek form. But how? How could someone like him just reach this level of strength in such a short time? They had no idea, but they felt like they were going to find out. As Goku, Vegeta, and Kibble all watched from Whis' staff, suddenly Frieza's spaceship would finally land, and Frieza and his soldiers would walk out. As Gohan and the rest of the Z fighters looked at them, Frieza would look around and say, "Where is that top monkey, Goku, and his friend Kibble?" Gohan would look up at Frieza and say, "How do you know about Kibble?" Frieza would laugh and say, I have spies everywhere. I see everything. And I am very powerful. I even trained some of my men too. They're gonna be no pushover. But I feel like you can still deal with them if you play your cards right. Suddenly, Frieza's soldiers came in. As one of them punched Gohan, Gohan got up and punched the other one. These soldiers felt strong. They weren't just cannon fodder like most of the Frieza force, or like they were on Namek. These soldiers trained with Frieza themselves. Frieza beat them up and rebuilt them. True, they were still not as strong as the Z-Fighters, but they gave them one hell of a fight, and they began to push the Z-Fighters further and further, surrounding them as they began to battle. Goku would watch this and say, No, no! How did these soldiers get so strong? We need to get over there. I would say, one of them needs to charge up all the way so we can instant transmission there. Goku nodded as we continued to watch the battle happen. As Frieza said, I guess I'll give him 5 hours before I get bored and just blow up the planet. He said, laughing. As Gohan said, if you want a Super Saiyan, I can provide. As he turned super, then begins to shake in his boots. No, no, it can't be. As Gohan begins to walk up to him. But then he uses a death beam and blasts both of his legs, causing him to fall down. As Frieza then begins to laugh. Oh, that was precious. Did you honestly think a Super Saiyan would scare me? After all the training I've been through? Boy. As he lays down there, not even able to move, Piccolo throws him a sensu bean. Gohan gets up and he knows what he has to do. Meanwhile, Tagama's fighting Master Roshi. As Master Roshi is getting pushed further and further back, suddenly Master Roshi goes into his buff form and punches him down to the floor. And as Tagama sees the words, he says, change now. As suddenly Captain Ginyu, the greatest character of all time, comes back and does a pose for the great and mighty Ginyu Force. Captain Ginyu looks at them all, begins to laugh. It's time that all of you meet the true Captain Ginyu. I'm finally back. Gohan knew what he had to do. Maybe they could take Frieza, but Captain Ginyu, the greatest fighter the universe has ever seen, there's no way they can take him. So he began to charge up and expel all of his energy at once as Gohan began to scream. Goku felt the energy, was able to teleport in with everyone. As they all instant transmissioned in, they all looked around and saw Frieza's army. Goku looked at Gohan and said, you did a good job, and used the last sensu bean on him. After that, all 3 of them were ready to fight. As Frieza looked down on him, was like, oh, 2 monkeys and Kibble. Let's see who can win. Kibble, I guess you're a fraction of a monkey. He began to laugh. As Frieza's army charged the Kibble, she simply charged up a Kamehameha, destroying all of them except for Captain Ginyu. Captain Ginyu didn't want to die. Captain Ginyu knew he had to live. He knew he had to push forward. He knew he had to rebuild the Ginyu Force. So he got into a space pod and left, as Frieza was distracted. Frieza then looked down at the 3 of them and turned gold. Kibble would look at him and say, I got this. Goku and Vegeta said, no, you took down his forces, so you don't get to fight him. She rolled her eyes and said, fine. As suddenly, Goku and Vegeta would play rock, paper, scissors to see who gets to fight Frieza. And Frieza just stood there like, really? Suddenly, Vegeta won, as he smirked, saying, alright, let's do this. Vegeta walked up towards Frieza and said, it's time to get some payback. Frieza says, what can you do? As Vegeta's hair turned blue. Frieza said, I guess you're just on par with Kakarot then, as you would call him. Kind of inspiring, isn't it? The prince of all monkeys, not willing to give up, keeps training to stay equal. How cute. Now you're a god, a prince and a god of monkeys. Such a great title. Vegeta say, I'm gonna make you eat those words. I'm the prince of all Saiyans. Saiyans are not monkeys. They're a proud warrior race. A warrior race that belongs under my feet. As they serve me, Frieza said, as he did an evil smirk. Then they both began to charge at each other, as Vegeta and Frieza began to battle each other with everything they had. First, Frieza was winning. As Frieza was slightly more powerful than Vegeta, he began to push him further and further back, and then with death beam after death beam. As Vegeta was up there staring at him, Frieza said, you cannot win, monkey. You might as well give up. Vegeta says, I realized something you didn't. Soon your power will fade away. Frieza says, what kind of bluff is that? As they battled, suddenly Frieza's power slowly began to drop as Vegeta got stronger and stronger compared to Frieza. Frieza began to yell and say, what is happening? You lost stamina. It's over, Frieza. Frieza would signal for one of his men to try to blast Vegeta with a blaster, but he would dodge it and blow up Sorbet. You think that would work? I'm not Kakarot. I see through your dumb schemes. Goodbye. Frieza would then start to blow up the planet, but before he could, Kibble would see this and blast him away with a Kamehameha. Vegeta would say, "You stole my kill. Better than having the world blow up." As they all would laugh and smile, Beerus would say, "Wow, she really took care of business. I wonder, could she be a destroyer if she had the right attitude?" Beerus thought. As he got up and said, "Well done, Kibble. You were great on the battlefield," he said, smirking. "You want to share my sundae?" Kibble looked at him and said, fine. And they shared a sundae together. And that is where we're going to leave things off. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I did. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with all your friends. Do all that stuff. And yeah, hopefully one day I'll make it big. And how are you all? Let me know in the comments below. Peace out, yo.